Yes, folks, hello, welcome once again to MoDXtra Games and Collectibles. It's time for another action figure review here on the channel. And as you can see on the screen right now, today's installment is going to be taking a closer look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batman Reborn figure. So stick around, I'm going to give you all the ins and outs, ups and downs that you need to know if you're thinking about picking up a Batman Reborn. That's the tongue twister of your own. Then I'll walk you through it and let you know everything you need to know to make sure it's the right place for you to put your cash. I'll give you a little rundown of the packaging experience, and then we'll get into the figure, talk about the aesthetic qualities and the visual experience, talk about the articulation and posability, and then a quick rundown of all the accessories and the added value that they bring. And by the end, that should be it. Should be plenty with a few final thoughts and a 360 view for you to make a decision of your own. So let's get into it, and let's jump back in time and visit past Chris as I take a look at the packaging and the box for the very first time, give you my first instinctual reaction when it arrived on my doorstep. Here we are then, folks. Here is the Batman, they call it Batman Reborn? Yeah, Batman Reborn in packaging, just arrived a couple of hours ago there. I had to finish up work, and now here I am filming the packaging experience. And to be fair, not a lot to report here. It's standard McFarlane DC Multiverse, packaging. Got the white, black, blue motif with the logo and the name of the character at the bottom. Big window showing off the figure and all the goodies. It's, the usual stuff. On the back there, you can see we've got a big bit of comic book artwork. That's the Frank Quitely cover from issue 1 of Batman and Robin. One of my personal favourites, actually. Frank Quitely is an artist that I've followed for many, many years. So while I've said in the past that I'm a bit off with McFarlane right now, and I'm a bit salty with him and not picking up many figures, I did have to pick up that one. And they've just announced this Robin, actually, so I'll be keeping an eye out for him too. But yeah, wonderful piece of artwork by Frank Quitely, the cover from issue 1 of Batman and Robin. Some marketing bollocks all down here at the bottom, the QR code that I'm not even going to bother with because they sent it to all sorts of random places. Logo, figure name, Batman Reborn, the kind of inspiration for the figure, blah, 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 blah. Bit more window and a repeat of all the same stuff on the side there. Yeah, it's standard McFarlane DC Multiverse packaging. There is not a great deal to report on that front there, and nothing, I think, gives it a particular amount of kind of like shelf presence as a piece of packaging. So there we go. That's that's all I've got for you, folks. So I'm going to go away and crack this bad boy open now, get some good hands-on man-child playtime in, get good and hands-on to pose him up a bit and play around with him. So I've got solid review thoughts to share with you. So stick around, because future Chris is going to come back and share those review thoughts in 3, 2, 1. Okay, folks, well, here then is the Batman Reborn as it came out of the packet. I know I've said a few times on this channel recently, I'm a little bit salty with Todd McFarlane and DC Multiverse, but I'm such a Frank Quitely mad fan, like proper Frank Quitely fanboy, that I couldn't pass this one up. And, immediately, aesthetically, I can definitely see those Batman and Robin Frank Quitely style vibes. I even dug out my issue 1 here to do a little bit of a figure comparison, and yeah, it's not too bad. It's pretty good, as you sort of take the whole thing in, you can definitely see the inspiration from the original kind of comic book source material there, particularly in the head sculpt. And it's a good-looking head sculpt, it definitely evokes the Dick Grayson version of the Batman character from that period in time. Got the Frank Quitely, Grant Morrison run feel to it, the vibe to it. Well sculpted, nice contours. I like the paint applications on the eyes. I like the darker lips there. It's all very good. I've got a bit of a bendy ear here. That was me being a bit heavy-handed when I was taking them out of the packet. I think that has done that. But as we well know, Todd likes to firmly shrink wrap them into that blister pack and tie wrap them within an inch of their life. Moving further down into the figure, we can see that usual kind of Todd McFarlane sculpting stuff that I really enjoy, actually. I like this element of the DC Multiverse, like the little creases around the elbows there. Although I do still find these pins, these massive pins on the DC Multiverse figures a bit ugly. The musculature in the the spandex as it's pulled over his chest here, the neck muscles there. As we go further down into the underpants, we can see that there. Nice paint application, shiny gold paint application across the belt. We've of course seen this book before. This is well, I've got it as the Batman Nightfall. The Nightfall version is the book. They've just sort of changed up the belt here. That's what jogged my memory. The belt's new, I think, because that's comic book accurate to the Dick Grayson version of the character, and the head sculpt obviously new. But we've seen the book before. But yeah, it's got all that awesome kind of sculpted, texture detail in there, which is nice to see. The knees still got these weird, ugly-looking knees that bother me. That knee joint there looks really untidy. It always cuts away a bit funky, and of course we've got the big ugly pins on the legs as well. I've never really been one to be particularly bothered by pins, but with the DC Multiverse, I do find it a little bit of an eyesore because they're so enormous. Bat symbol painted on as well. Nice paint application there for the bat symbol. And then as we get down into the arms, we got a different design here on the arms. Again, comic book accurate there. And then as he comes out the packet, you can see he's got his like little kind of electrically charged bat gauntlets that he used in the Batman and Robin comic run as well. And these are nicely sculpted. Got the little bat shape in them, which is accurate to the source material, with a little glowing electrical bar across the middle. Of course, one of the biggest aesthetic changes and the most eye-catching part of the visual experience is the soft goods cape that's been applied to this particular character. It's alright, it's a bit shiny, it feels a bit cheap and nasty. It is wired down the edge here, which is a nice touch, and it's got the little kind of bat cutaway shape across the bottom. I'm not going to gripe about the cheap look of it too much. I mean, it's a 25 quid figure. I wasn't expecting, like, incredible cape work, although I must admit I have seen better when I think like M. Bison, Jada Toys M. Bison, or the likes of Serpentor and Dr. Mindbender. The quality does feel a bit nicer than this. It's got that kind of cheap plasticky feel, and it's very, very shiny. The finish on it's not great either. I get the little wire sticking out the bottom there. It's not been sewed in at the bottom, and it's just been sewn in at the side, so the inside is a different shade to the outside, and you can see this seam in here. Again, like I say, I'm not going to gripe about it too much. At this budget range, what was I going to expect? I'm a reasonable guy when it comes to that, but it's been difficult. It's been difficult to enjoy the soft goods experience there. Although I'm not a big soft goods fan anyway, particularly because I find it very hard to sculpt it into a display shape that I like. But that's a me thing, not a figure thing. But it's more about the kind of cheap finish on it. But of course it's cheap. It's a low cost figure comparable to other stuff. So aesthetically, it's a thumbs up. Good sculpt quality, very, very accurate, immensely accurate to the comic book source material. Looks like what it's supposed to be. Have I got some gripes? Yes, I have, but for the price at this budget range, I'm generally quite happy, and he does look pretty damn good on the shelf there. So yeah, I'm going to say a thumbs up for sure. Okay, well, there's the aesthetic visual experience piece done. Let's now take a closer look at the articulation and posability. So getting started at the top here with the head, it's a ball in the base here, but nothing going on down in the neck. There's not a hinge under there either. So your down's not great, your forward there's not fantastic, your up's all right. You can full 360 swivel, and there's a little tiny bit of tilty movement in there, which can be helpful-ish, although it's a bit difficult and awkward when he's looking to the sides there. Moving down into the main body here, the shoulders, we've got the peg and the hinge, so you've got full 360 all the way around, and you can get the T-shape out like that. Swivel at the top of the bicep, double elbow that'll get you up to there, and then we've got the McFarlane style hinge in the wrists here. They're not great actually. These the way that this sort of cuff piece on the glove hangs over the wrist means that your range of motion is not fantastic. This right one in particular, left one's less obscured for some weird reason, but it's a bit tricky. So when I'm trying to get his fists up for like doing some boxing, it's a bit tricky. Then we've got the barbell here in the chest and the swivel in the waist, giving a good range of motion there. Lots of twist and swivel, although it's a bit tight in the waist. Got that McFarlane hinge there in the groin, giving you good Russian ballet. Fairly decent forward, fairly decent back. The usual problem with regards to the nappy experience here. No thigh cut, which I still feel is an omission with the McFarlane figures. The double knee will get you up to there. No boot cut, although it is a sculpted boot. Meant to mention that before. Sculpted on boot, which is nice to see. Then we've got those McFarlane ankles, giving forward and back and a rocker and everything. And of course, as always, McFarlane figures can bend their toes. And then, as I mentioned before, we've got wire in the cape that run down the two sides. No wire across the bottom. And that's just your standard kind of flexible piece of wiring there that you can use to manipulate your cape shape. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. The McFarlane Articulation's all right. It's all right. Would I like more? Yes, I would like more. I do find it a little bit limiting compared to other lines that I collect. I've already mentioned in this video G.I. Joe Classified and Jada Toys, their Street Fighter line, both of which kind of blow this out the water when it comes to the range of posability. And yeah, it's just more, it's kind of that statuesque action figure with some articulation rather than an articulated action figure with a statuesque quality. I've said that before. Hopefully some folks will understand what I mean. But especially with these more kind of gymnastics, martial arts based characters, there's none more gymnastic than Dick Grayson, it just feels a little bit limiting. So I've got him into some decent fighty, punchy poses. It's not a complete loss, but yeah, I do much prefer the articulation from other lines. Okay, so that's articulation and posability. Let's now take a look at the accessories. And I'll start us off with the basic routine. When it comes to DC Multiverse, you get the the base stand with the foot peg and the DC symbol watermarked into it there. These are fine. I think foot stands should come with every action figure line as standard. Although, weird one, folks, the holes at the bottom of his feet were slightly too small for the peg. I had to really force it in. I've now kind of wiggled them loose. Bit of dog hair on the trading card there. And then the trading card that comes as standard, that's the Frank Whiteley artwork from that very Batman and Robin issue 1 that I showed you before. These are fine, got a bit of data card information on the back there. Interesting note as well with this one, they've started curving the corners. So the other trading cards were squared off in the more traditional kind of trading card style, whereas these have got these rounded off corners. Makes no odds to me. These are fine, but I mean, I've got a ring binder that I put them all in, and I barely ever look at them, to be honest. I've got other trading card collections that are much more aesthetically pleasing, but yeah, it's fine. Foot stands are always welcome, and the trading card is what it is. And then we've got a couple of hand swaps, starting with these ones here, these kind of open, clawy, grippy hands here. I've been using this like gripping onto the edge of the cape and stuff, but these are fine, yeah. And then we've got a couple of grippy hands here, so if you want to dig through the bits box and grab a Batarang out or something. And then a couple of grippy hands here, so if you want to dig through the bits box and, I don't know, give him a Batarang from one of your other Batman figures or Wonder Woman's sword or something, you can do. Incidentally, it's standard McFarlane peg, so if you've got other black gloved hands, plain black gloved hands, you can peg them on, although that one looks a little bit disproportionate, but you get the idea. So, the accessory selection is fine. I'll give it a thumbs up, I suppose. It's got the soft goods cape in there as well, but, hand swaps, you can't go wrong. Foot stands, you can't go wrong. It's all, routine stuff. I'm not sure what else you would have kitted him out with. I'm trying to cast my memory back to when I read the run, whether he geared himself up with anything else, but it was more about his special parasailing cape and stuff, wasn't it? Which, you can do with the soft goods and what have you. So, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'll give it a thumbs up. It adds enough value for the price range, I suppose. Okay, well, there's the accessories and added value. Let's take a look at him next to a couple of other Batmen, shall we? Okay, well, here he is next to the OG. This is like the Wave 1. What was that? Detective Comics number 1 or whatever it was. Number 25. I can't remember. But, yeah, there he is next to it. The still got those ugly pins. Here he is next to the Nightfall Batman. That's obviously the blue and grey edition. Here he is next to the Batman Hush. A nice kind of physical difference there. You got that kind of bulkier, chunkier Bruce Wayne version of Batman next to the more kind of gymnastic, athletic version of Dick Grayson, which I think is a nice look, although obviously I've got my Dick Grayson knee a bit more bent than my Batman Hush there. Holy shit, man, I've got a lot of DC Multiverse Batmans. What am I doing? We haven't even got the Christian Bale Batman. Jesus. I'm honestly really not one for repeat characters, but I seem to have a lot of Todd McFarlane Batmans. I've got a problem, folks. Well, folks, here we go then. Here is Batman stroke Batman Reborn, the Dick Grayson version of the Batman going around on the turntable, so you can take a good 360 view of the figure. Also have yourselves a nice little giggle at my clear incapability when it comes to posing wired soft goods capes. But yeah, he's all right. It's decent. It's I find myself saying the same stuff over and over again when I review a McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse. I like the sculpting. When they get it right, they really get it right. The sculpting detail's lovely. When they get it wrong, they also get it really super wrong. But when they get it right, they get it right. This is clearly aligned with the comic book source material. I said earlier, I'm a massive Frank Whiteley artwork fan. Big fan of the Grant Morrison Batman and Robin run as well. So very pleased to have this in my collection. The stuff that is bothering me about McFarlane is still bothering me. This is one pre-order that I've maintained out of many that I've cancelled of late. Because they're still hard to get hold of here in the UK, still real tricky. This one cropped up on Amazon, funnily enough, but still real tricky to get hold of here in the UK. Limited numbers coming in, and I'm still frustrated by the articulation situation and the fact that the line doesn't seem to move forward. It's 4-5 years old now, and we're still getting these massive ugly pins and such like, and I just feel like he's lagging behind and getting a lot of new money for the same old rope. You know, when we talk about the reuse, it's a new head, a new belt, and a new cape, basically, and that's it. In fact, just this weekend, I saw a picture floating around of a new super... Anyway, I'm not going to get into it. I'll talk about that maybe on a live stream or something. So yeah, I'm happy to have him in my collection. He'll go down by my collected edition there, next to my my exact same Frank Whiteley, Dick Grayson Batman black and white statue that I've got down there too. And I'll be very pleased to have him. Although, one final note, I really want the Damian Wayne now, that's inspired by the same source material. I can't find him for love nor money over here in the UK. And also, oddly enough, marketed through the Page Punchers subline, not the DC Multiverse mainline, which I think is an odd choice. But I would love the Damian to go alongside him. So I will keep an eye out on that one. Maybe I'll get lucky and that'll crop up on Amazon randomly one day as well. But there we go. Okay, well, so I hope you found this useful. If you are thinking about picking up one of these Batmans for yourself, then I've given you enough solid information to know whether this is a good figure for you to spend your hard-earned cash on. If it was useful, give us a thumbs up, do the subscribe, all the YouTuber bollocks and malarkey. I'll put a link in the description down below for this figure on Amazon in the US, which is another great way to support the channel because I get a little kickback if you use that. But in the meantime, I hope you have a great day. I hope you have a great week. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you around these parts again sometime soon. All right, folks, take it easy now.